Okay, I had some difficulty with this program last week. For some reason, it didn't want to allow me to put the titles in the slideshow. So again, if the header is missing from this video, it means that the slideshow pictures will be in the community menu and not at the end of the video. This is not meant to be comprehensive, but to give an overview of, nautical style footwear, boat shoes, topsiders, Bluchers, whatever you want to term them. Some of them can be leather, some of them can be canvas, but we're trying for an upgrade from sneakers. But a lot of times people will still like to wear sneakers while sailing, especially like Vans or Converse, something like that, because the canvas is kind of quick drying in the warm weather. The soles are going to do pretty well on the wood deck of a sailboat. You're not worried so much about saltwater corrosion as you might be with leather. So, still leather has remained a staple, even though, might not be the best in all situations. And this, I put the LL Bean boxes here just because I have them. I don't still have boxes from all the brands that we'll discuss here, and I don't have every single model. So obviously a lot of people's go-to are Sperry's. They cost a little more than I typically want to spend. I don't have any of them. There was some other brand from England that I was looking at, and I got them and the fit was completely wrong. I had to send them right back. So these are just ones that I have that fit. And so starting not with LL Bean, but these are just happen to be in a plastic bag. So, okay, I should have taken these out first. Sorry. But St. John's Bay, and the little thing just fell off today, right when I was about to do this, because I've worn these before. But see, if you can, it's upside down. Okay. St. John's Bay from basically J.C. Penney, and the glue is just old on these, so they're just their name peeling off. So unlike a sneaker, or unlike all sneakers, though, what we're really looking at with a lot of boat shoes that we're trying to use as an upgrade for casual day, whereas this is very slippery, even on asphalt and whatnot. That can be an issue. These do have leather, but with some kind of quick dry panels, and they do have real laces. This particular model has 3 eyelets, which I prefer 3 or 4 to the kind of standard lazy two eyes. I have a pair of those I'll show in a minute. Just because I like having a more secure fit. And I have used these for casual wear. They have this detail here that nobody has adequately explained ever on any of the boot videos I've seen. They have the running stitch, which is not connected to this actual lacing at all. It's just for looks. So when you pull this snug, it doesn't pull snug around the back or anything. A little bit of a heel grip cup or whatever, a little bit of padding. These are several years old, so they might have changed the design by now. It has the cushiony heel pad, I guess, what do you want to call it, on the insole, that gives you a little more comfort through the day. I especially liked that when I had that on a pair of work boots. There was kind of a bubble in the bottom of the Tom McCann, or not the bottom, but the top of the Tom McCann insoles that was really welcome. And then when I switched to like a pair of Payless boots, that was the one thing I noticed that was really missing, even though surprisingly those boots lasted a long time. They just were never as comfortable. So basically, like I said, this is kind of a basic moccasin top stitch. This particular one is a true moccasin stitch. You can see where the 2 edges can split apart. And so that's kind of a thing that when they talk about mock toe boots, they'll talk about how most mock toe boots, including Thorough Goods, will have a fake stitch where it looks like it's a mock stitch, but this actually does look like it's a two-piece construction as far as I can tell. So that's kind of, nice for, 50 bucks or whatever they cost. And they had those in a few different color offerings and whatnot. Similar to that, then, I guess there's no real order that we need to go in here. These are LL Bean ones that I got a couple years ago. I don't think I wore these yet, but similarly, you're going to have a very slick outsole. So not necessarily great for the sidewalk, but here you have pretty much leather the whole thing, no kind of nylon at all. Slightly less lacing. Here they've replaced the lace with a rawhide though. I'm not a huge fan of rawhide. They're kind of popular in a lot of the boots now. They've kind of grown in popularity. Um, I'm not crazy about it. I think they break a lot, and I don't think they hold a knot very well. So a lot of times I'll replace them with just some kind of shoelace. But it can be hard to find a shoelace that's the right sort of length. Like again, when we have less eyelets and we're not having the laces go so far up, you know, maybe a dress shoe lace would be a little bit shorter than a sneaker lace. So your results may vary on that kind of thing. Here we've got like a little bit of a seam. Here we've got what looks like just a decorative moccasin. So another not true moccasin. Doesn't look like that's a separate piece. It looks like this is just a stitch that's run through to give it a little bit of character. To turn this from what would look more like a sneaker to a moccasin to make it look more like a boat shoe. So there you go. And this style of lacing system, I believe, technically makes it what is a Blucher, as opposed to whatever is the difference between a Blucher and a Derby. Yeah, still not super up on all of those kind of terms because I've never really worried about it. I've always just bought the shoes based on the way I like if they look or not and the way they fit or not, rather than worry about all the terminology. So here another LL Bean. Here we got another heel button. Here we got another full leather construction. Here we have another what looks like a fake moccasin stitch. Here we have 4 eyelets. Here we have literally almost no traction whatsoever. Here we have some stitching around the back. I don't know if that will make them easier or harder to resole. Haven't really had a chance to use these yet. This was last year's model, I think. And I already had those other ones, so I didn't wear these. But yeah, we have all leather again, but again, technically another Blucher, I believe. And we have the metal. Those have metal too, but here we have a shinier metal, more similar to the J.C. Penney ones have the shiny. But here we have a leather tongue instead of a foam padded tongue. So they change their stuff up a bit from year to year. So here we have a much more traditional shoe design, obviously more similar to a loafer, but still technically, a boat shoe. Again, here we have a much even more pronounced heel button back here. So these should be pretty comfortable. They probably might have said these were driving shoes instead of boat shoes. I don't remember, but I don't know if I'd want this slick on my car's gas pedal or not. I don't know. Might add a grip tape to the bottom there if I was going to use them for that purpose. Similarly then to those, moving straight to definitely boat shoes. Here we have this stitching around the outside. These have been worn a bit. They have a little bit of a heel. Again, no nylon or anything, pure leather. Again, rawhide ties, 2 eyelets. These are typically, I should say, uh, most people prefer to wear them without socks, I guess. I don't know. I don't always like that sloppy, loose feel. I mean, if you're on a boat, then, and you're worried about your socks getting wet, then, maybe you can forego them. But I really hate slipping around in my shoes. So I usually still wear ankle socks. Um, Again, the rawhide lacing here, but here you have so little tongue and whatnot coming up on your foot that it's almost more for decoration at this point than any real tension. You have a very kind of thin leather tongue here that's pretty wide across, and you have some kind of, you kind of see kind of little holes in the footbed, and no comfort button though. These are not a completely flat insole, so they're not quite Converse, but not a ton of arch support here. Obviously, similar to a pair of Vans or whatever. Definitely meant to be very much a sporting sales shoe, not so much a walking shoe. Again, if you're going to be doing 5 miles at Disneyland or whatever, don't necessarily go for this type of shoe. Again, here we have this stitch decoration. Some people say this is so you can put your foot on there and get your other shoe off. I don't know that that's true. Here we see the leather's a bit pliant. You can see kind of some of the detail of the outsole there that overhangs just for contrast. Here we have there's I can't quite tell if this is a two-piece moccasin or not. My guess is not, but it could be. Yeah, because there's kind of a slit there, but I don't know that that automatically means that it's 2 pieces of leather. They could just cut it the same way that Thorogood, I guess, cuts theirs. And so that's, but here's your navy blue, very nautical color. So similar to that, often they'll have a sneaker that's, you know, obviously more of a walking outsole, a little bit of drainage here, laces instead of rawhide, foam kind of tongue again, and some foam here. No heel button, but a little bit more arch support than, again, maybe Vans or Converse. Um, the the moccasin stitching here, this looks like it could have been gathered and folded over. So I can't really quite tell if this is 2 pieces or one, just kind of artfully seamed like that. But given a moccasin look to, again, elevate what is otherwise completely a sneaker. And so again, blue. We have that year they had a similar one in a tan with a rawhide, or one year, I don't know. A little bit more of a sneaker outsole, but not a ton of traction. This stripe to look like a pair of Vans, I guess. This back to look almost like Converse. Little branding on the inside. You can see they gave you some little forest pictures or sailboat pictures or whatever that's supposed to be. Actually, it looks like a guy skiing in one here. Maybe he's playing tennis. Okay. Um. So yeah, but a nice linen kind of look to the fabric. They might actually be linen instead of canvas, cotton canvas, that is. Don't know, don't remember. A little bit more to the tongue than just one layer. But just another summer shoe that's an upgrade from wearing sneakers. Again, the idea here is how can we elevate our look without necessarily spending that much money, and finding options. So similarly, here we had a slip-on version. This is Dr. Scholl's now though, and it's very similar in a lot of ways to the J.C. Penney St. John's Bay ones, except here we have this decoration that doesn't turn into laces anywhere. The Dr. Scholl's ones have they're supposed to be meant to be known for their insoles and their arch support and that kind of orthopedic and thing. And these were pretty good. They were a little narrow. They fit a little tight, but that was actually better for me overall. To feel structured and whatnot. A little bit of stuff going on here for a little bit of traction, not a ton. But then I think it was Hayband was carrying these, so I bought a few pairs and I liked them. Then one year they stopped offering these and started offering something called Dr. Max instead. They are nowhere near the same shoe. They might look the same. They don't feel the same. They're absolutely terrible. I hate them. I don't even want to mince words here. They're nothing like this in terms of comfort and longevity and whatnot. The outsoles were wearing through even faster. Similarly, these were called Gold Toe. Also was offered by Hayband and look a lot like pretty close to decent boat shoes. But they have arch support. I can't say that they don't, but the fit of them was a little too wide and the feel of them underfoot was a little too mushy. So they didn't have that same consistent support as the Dr. Scholl's ones did. And so when I tried to use these as, walking shoes for, a couple of miles, I would my feet would hurt like a lot more. They would feel it a lot more that, they weren't getting the side support here. They weren't getting the comfort underfoot. So they look very similar. Bloopers reel. So they look pretty similar to the Dr. Scholl's, but are definitely also not Dr. Scholl's. And so yeah, I'm being kind of lazy about talking about the details, but because I just wouldn't recommend buying them. So, but if overall they look like boat shoes, they definitely have a dark navy blue. So if you just need a pair, for an afternoon or whatever, I guess they're fine if you don't want to spend the extra. But like I said, in the long term, definitely not a shoe I would recommend. And so I guess like I said, they have several different names. Topsiders is the one I usually go with, or boat shoes being generic as you can get. And well, this video went on a bit longer than I thought it might, so I guess we'll end it there.